What's up, people? Turtle here. Today, coming at you with one of my favorite Cobra sub teams from the GI Joe 3 3/4 line, the Dreadnoks. And what I have here is I put together several years ago my own little Cold Slither World Tour set here, and including all the core original versions of the Dreadnoks, not like Ninja Force or Sonic Fighters, any of that. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but there's just so much I could fit in here anyway, the way it is. Um, and we'll open it up, of course, and take a look in here. But the case here, this is I'm the guy who likes a lot of hot stuff. Like I like it pretty hot for a gringo, and so of course whenever you get it like a novelty gift or something like that, sometimes it's hot sauce related, which this was. Let's take a little look at the box here, and this box was hot sauces from around the world or something. I believe was the kind of gist of it, and so when I was done with all the hot sauces, I was like, the box, maybe I could do something with it. And um, so we'll open it up here. First, I'll show you on here. When I say the Cold Slither World Tour thing, I had found somebody on online that was selling kind of retro looking 80s buttons, but it was Cold Slither themed. And this is the white one here. It's kind of rusted up, so it looks like, all vintage and shit. And then, of course, there's Zartan on vocals. But there's a whole set of them. I've got a couple on one of my jackets. But I really, growing up, I really liked the Dreadnoks. Totally, Cobra fanboy, 110%. And the one thing I didn't like about Cobra is, unless you're like one of the main dudes, you're wearing, a uniform. And, I had to be in private school for a while when I was a kid and up until middle school, basically. And so I had disdain for uniforms in any fashion, still to this day. And, so that's what I liked about the Dreadnoks is, hey, these guys don't have to, abide by, the uniform standard, as juvenile as that is. But, especially when I was a kid and I was having to wear uniforms myself, I really appreciated the fact that these dudes could just rock it out, 80s metal style. And, just a little backstory on me and the Dreadnoks here. So we're gonna pop it open. Um, and if you've never seen the episode about Cold Slither, Cobra and I guess Doctor Mind, yeah, I think Doctor Mindbender's with them at the time. Um, so they in the '80s, you had all the subliminal lyrics and music and all these things and the satanic panic era of things. And of course, GI Joe is right on board, hitting all the notes there. And so they're like, oh yeah, well we'll make the Dreadnoks like a heavy metal band with subliminal lyrics, to get everybody to join Cobra. I guess it worked on me because I'm a grown ass man still loving it. Um, so we're gonna open this up here and take a look at this. Now, this tray that's in here, this is comes from like a Star Wars figure case actually, but what I got it in was I had gotten a lot of Legos at an auction, and it was a humongous box that was filled up with smaller boxes of Legos and stuff was somewhat sorted, and so they had these trays as used for sorting the different Lego pieces. Most of them were quite busted up. This one and another one was like pretty much all intact. And so I was looking at that. I'm really not into Star Wars figures really, and so I was like, I could use this for GI Joe somehow. And I had this box, of course. Like I said, I didn't want to throw the box away. I'm that guy too. Um, and I was like, I wonder, will this fit in there? And I'll be damned. I mean, it pretty much fits in there like it was made for it. Everybody's rattling around in there. But that's a pretty good fit. It's got a little, you got a little play in the side to side there. But the up and down, I mean, that's a perfect fit. So I was like, okay. So what could I put in there? Put my, with the kind of like the old suitcase where you get the stickers from, everywhere you go through customs or whatever. I was like, okay, we'll make it like, Dreadnoks, and we'll go Cold Slither World Tour back. So that's what I come up with. And we'll just take a little look. I mean, if you know anything of G.I. Joe, you're not getting any like hardcore information off me or my videos here, but just get kind of breakdown of them. You got all your core guys here. You got Zartan, which is the leader of the Dreadnoks. Now, Zartan, this is my Zartan from when I was a kid, except for the head. Um, Now, if you GI Joe guys, you can repair the O rings in these. Like if the rubber bands that hold their waist and everything together snap, you can get an O ring and fix them. Well, except for Zartan and his brother and sister Xandar and Zorana, for whatever reason, in their back. Let me get them up here so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, well, when you take that screw out, well, the chest piece was glued together, and they will not come apart on any of these three. And that's the only G.I. Joe figures that I've taken apart where I've seen you cannot get them apart. So I'm like, okay. So for the glue, I tried to pry it apart and it looked like it was going to break. So I was like, not going to really do that. So I just took the back screws out and just left them. And years later, Zartan was the first one to fall apart. And I was like, oh, right, because the crotch on mine originally was busted too. And so I was like, finally, I can fix Zartan. And I had tore the cowl on his head. This is a different head. I had found a Zartan that was broken half and they couldn't get him apart. So um, that chest piece I didn't mind destroying because it was pretty ragged out anyway. So I thought it was really weird that they would do that for these. And the only thing I can think of is, oh, it's falling out of my hand here, is Zartan and his sister and brother, they change color in sunlight. And they'll turn like, kind of different. Zartan's different than those two. Like the plastic formula or whatever is a little different. Um, he is way better. And his vehicle and the original Dreadnok vehicles, like the Swamp Smasher helicopter thing, that changes color. His chameleon jet ski changes color. Um, so they work really good. Now, Xandar and Zorana, they look like they turn gray, really. Like they don't turn the blue kind of turquoise color like Zartan does. And so I don't know why that would make them glue them together instead of like every other figure, but they did. And so if you have these and you're trying to, fix them, the only thing I can tell you is just take the back screw out and just let them sit for a while and or just kind of mess around, give them a light pry here and there, just, and then hopefully one day they'll bust open and you can put a new rubber band in there. These little things under his knee pads and his chest pad, they change color too, but it's more like the Transformers decals that you can't tell if they're the Autobot or Decepticon until heat activated. I guess is what I'm looking to say. Um, it's more like that than whatever the hell's going on with Zartan's plastic. But I thought that was really really interesting. I figured I'd throw that in there. Um, it's not very sunny or hot today because I was like I would put them outside and take a picture of them before and after. Probably the wrong time of year for that type of thing. Um, but yeah, the Dreadnoks are totally my favorite out of all the sub teams in GI Joe. And like I said, there's Zartan, the leader, his brother and sister that come in. I guess it was the GI Joe cartoon movie, or no, it was a Rise of Pentor Rise, I believe, is when they first showed up. Along with Thrasher, who drives the Thunder Machine, and Monkey Wrench. Now you've got Torch, Buzzer, and Ripper. These are the OG Dreadnoks that would be a Zartan. That was it. And then so later on you have Road Pig come along and Zanzibar, another Z name. No relation, I don't believe. It's been a minute since I read the file card. to Zartans and our Zorana. And these are all figures from when I was a kid. Like you can see with Monkey Wrench's crotch is busted. You know, he's been through 100 adventures at least, except for Naugahyde. I did not have Naugahyde when I was a kid. The Dreadnok Poacher. I picked him up maybe like 10 years ago or something. I was at like a junk store or comic store or something. And, he come with his pet. Man, I don't even know what his pork chop or something maybe. I can't remember what the hell his boar's pet's name is. But this guy, back in the day, this was this didn't come with any Dread. This come from like Leonard Core figures or whatever. Um, I I always used him as Zartan's dog, and I can't even like I said I couldn't even remember what he was from. Some type of knockoff GI Joe figure, and I just thought it was so cool. You have his own little. I don't know, it looks like a German Shepherd and a Doberman mixed together or something. I really don't know, but yep, I threw him in there because as a kid that was Zartan's attack dog. Like the Dreadnoks would be held up at some swamp, you know, grotto cave that they turned into their base, and there's your guard dog there. So, I that's about it really for going into the Dreadnoks here. Um, it's really like I said, one of my favorites. I really like them, and with Cobra, like I said, everybody except for like the main guys has to have a uniform, but at least the Dreadnoks can go 80s metal. And to the point to where they actually make their own subliminal 80s metal with Cold Slither. So, all right, well, that's about it for the Dreadnoks World Tour until next time. One last thing I'll say, I noticed with the G.I. Joe Classified series, the 6-inch figures, like, I don't have any of those. I don't have any interest in getting any of those because I have so much of this stuff still left over from when I was a kid for the most part, other than finding a part here and there or, figure here and there I wanted and never got or something. But they do have out of the Super 7 Super Reaction line, which are the same size and scale, and basically articulation. They have a Dreadnok. They have a Cold Slither Zartan, and I thought I might get that somewhere along the line. Um, I will have to reinvent the Cold Slither World Tour case maybe somehow, or get rid of the pets or something to fit them in there. But we'll see what happens. All right, well, that's it. I'm going back to being trapped in this foam cube. Maybe somebody will let me out sometime. Maybe not. Late.